favorite emoji, and let's keep the energy in the house high. Just few people are excited. Can we have it coming? Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we're going to just start right away. I'm going to be sharing my entire screen. So a little bit of introduction. I need one or two people to unmute themselves and let me know if I am audible enough. One or two people.
You're very clear, okay?
All right, thanks. Can someone else also confirm, apart from staff of Amdoranalytics?
You're clear, sir.
All right, please, what's your name?
Kathy, as in
All right.
Catherine. Yeah.
All right, it's good to have you here. All right, so we're going to be looking at data science. I'm going to be introducing you to the world of data science, one of the most important data skill within the tech ecosystem. By the way, I am Opeyemi Agbola, and I am a professional data scientist and an AI engineer. And I have been in this space for quite a while now, pretty much over 10 years. And I have witnessed a lot of evolution that has happened in the data and tech industry at large. And I'll be happy to give you a general background into what data science is about and some of the things to look forward to. Hi everyone, please confirm you can hear me. I had to switch my internet a bit. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so I'm just going to go back to the slides. All right, so that's a bit about me and what we're going to be doing today. So first, it's important for us to understand why data science matters. I understand that while you have decided to join this bootcamp is to really understand what data science is and how it can actually position you for global relevance and opportunities within the tech ecosystem. But you need to understand the logic before you are fully invested into taking, let's say, a program in data science. You need to have some general understanding of what it is about, what we do as data scientists. You need to hear from an expert who practices data science on a daily basis. And then you need to also see the opportunities that are actually resident, in this. Okay. Although my slide is quite plenty, but I'm going to try as much as possible to pick the most important things because I want us to do a little bit of practical. All right. So you see the things we do on a daily basis as data scientists. So the first thing to note, is that data is everywhere. All right, more than ever before, as a human civilization, we collect vast amount of data that it has ever been recorded in human history. Okay, so for every click, every purchase, every message, every transaction, every activity, it's data. Data is created every day. All right, so I like telling people, even colleagues, that data is just like energy, just like you learned the basics of energy, that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but reverse is the case for data. Data can be created, but it cannot be destroyed. All right, so what that simply means is that we have vast amount of data collected every day. All right, and the people, the businesses that actually do really well are those able to maximize this raw information, because data are raw facts that have not been processed, and that's why we need data professionals who are able to turn raw information into meaningful insight and able to drive business growth. All right, so transactions and all of that. So another thing to note is, just like I mentioned before, it's being generated at a very massive scale. All right, so the world generates hundreds of millions of terabytes of data every single day. So it means the more we generate more data, the more the need for data scientists. All right, that's another thing to note why data science actually matters. Then for better decision, so businesses that use data make faster, smarter, and more confident decisions. Okay, so for every business, for any business to become competitive, I need to return to the dashboard quickly. I need to confirm you can still hear me clearly. Please use your favorite emoji if you can still hear me. Awesome. 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 All right. So, all right. Thank you. Okay. So, for better decisions, just like I said, so the businesses that will really do well in the 21st century are those that are able to manage data, business data, market, and the data in their industry. So for them to stay afloat and to be on top and have a huge market share, there is a need for them to have a command of their data, and that's why they need data scientists. All right. So generally also from guesswork to certainty. So data science helps organizations move from uncertainty to evidence-based action. So as you can see, the word science is empirical. Okay, so when we say data science, it means it follows a rudiment, it follows a method, or it is methodological in nature. And it helps us to pretty much understand things in a very organized and scientific, way. All right, so data is now one of the most valuable assets in the whole world that we must actually take note of. All right. Hi guys. Are we still together? I hope I'm not speaking to myself. Okay, thanks for that reaction. Thanks for me. Thanks, Mercy. All right. Okay. So now that we've established the importance of data science, we need to look at what data science is, and then we'll move to other things. So at its core, data science is about asking questions and finding answers using data. Okay, so in simple term, what we do in data science is simply to ask very deep questions. Questions like, um, why are customers going for a particular product and not another one? All right, can we study customers' purchasing pattern? All right. How do we build a recommendation system that understands exactly what people want to watch on Netflix? And then we build the algorithm in such a way that the things you clicked previously are the things similar and related content would be suggested to you. The same principle works with YouTube. Now, these things look like magic to you. Have you ever thought about it? Sometimes it looks like you went to search for something on Google. All right. And when you go to YouTube, the ads that popped up was quite similar to that. Let me quickly confirm, has that happened to any one of you before? If it has happened to you before, use your favorite emoji. You just you just observed that you searched for something elsewhere, and then before you know it, that very thing was popping up on another social media. Anybody? Okay, so I'm sure you've experienced it before, or maybe you've not quite understood what I was trying to communicate. All right, so let's go on. So what do we do in data science? We collect real world data. We gather information from multiple sources, from surveys, from the internet, from comments, social media comments and likes, and from any source you can think of. All right. And then we try to clean and organize data. As you're going to see in a bit, that data usually come in very messy forms, right? And we try to make sense of it. All right. So we prepare the data for meaningful analysis. Then we try to find patterns and trends within the data. things, meaningful insights are within the number. And by the way, data scientists, they are very numeric inclined. They are um, you can't you can't run away from things like mathematics, statistics, and then programming. And that's not to scare you. Like I tell people, data science, or let me put it this way, tech skills that appear to be very difficult are the ones that are in demand, because there are very few people that are actually going into it. All right. And it's not because it's that difficult. It's just that most people have not really found the right set of tutors to really walk them through how to go about this. And that's why I'm going to recommend that you start considering registering with us for a full program. So personally, I'm very big on value. If we are going to, let's say, for the space of 5 months or 8 months, take you from zero level to becoming um, someone who is very confident in data science, it means we're also promising you to have an increased market value. It simply means that your earning potential would, rise very, very fast. All right. And I'm going to speak a bit more, about the program at the end of the day. And trust me, people who become really relevant in the tech age that we're entering into, an AI age, are those who learn to maximize opportunity early. Okay, I'm not going to go into the whole story of how I started my own data journey about 11 years ago, and I'm glad I actually did. So it usually come in a very subtle way, and you do not want to be stuck, in a job that is going into oblivion in a matter of years because you lack the requisite data skill. So also we do a lot of prediction, all right? There's something called predictive analysis. We try to observe patterns. We use what we call time series. So time series is data collected successively over time. And then with it, we can make predictions. Some of you see weather forecasts. You wonder, how do they know that this is what the weather will look like in my area in the next 2 days? Those are based on data, all right? And those are based on predictive analysis. It's within the scope of data science application in metrology. So lastly, we use the insights to guide decisions. So at the end of the day, we use all of these insights we've gathered to be able to um, advise businesses on what their strategy and action plans should look like. Now let's look at data science in our daily life. I'm going to move quickly from this because I want us to do some practical and begin to make sense of a raw data. Now, so there are things that you might not have actually noticed, and then you see the footprint of data science in all of those places. Um, so let's look at entertainment, for example. Movies and music recommendation that matches your taste perfectly. All you just observed is that when you did your Netflix subscription, you like K-series drama. Is it K-drama series? Someone should unmute themselves and let me know. Not facilitator now. I don't really watch Korean movie. Is it K-series they call it? There's a name they call that thing. You guys can someone?
K-drama.
It's
K-drama.
K-drama.
It's K-drama, right? All right. So you like K-drama. Give me an example. Fumilari, can you give me an example of one K-drama movie?
Trying to sell her off, but then she married the sister. It's my daughter that's telling me here, please.
Okay, it's your daughter telling you there. Okay, so it means you don't really do K-drama that much.
I know they do a lot of, or they watch a lot of stuff like that. Just
Okay.
Okay, so the
So
main one
it's
is
basically
Main one.
Korean,
It's basically what?
Korean movies.
Yeah, I know they are Korean movie. Can you
Okay.
give me one Korean movie?
Bon appetit.
Bon Appetit, right? Okay.
Yes.
You seem to like Korean movie. I used to think it's a girly thing. Anyways, so now you observe that the fact that you clicked on a particular movie, all right, the next time you come to Netflix, it looks like Netflix begins to rearrange the dashboard for you in such a way that the kind of recommendations you now get are based on your taste. All right, it means it has studied your pattern, it has studied the kind of things. It's also with YouTube. It has studied, we call it algorithm, right? So it has studied the things you've interacted with in time past, and then it suggests, recommends it to you. Okay. Behind, at the back end, there is a work that has gone on. All right. There are models that have actually been developed, okay, to actually make that happen. All right. So basically, data science applies in many ways, and that's one of the ways in entertainment. All right. Think of music, think of movies online, think of shopping as well on Jumia, on Amazon. All right. So online shopping suggestions, you just notice that you clicked on this particular thing and then it began to make, all kinds of recommendations are actually related to that particular thing based on your preference and your browsing history. All right. So also, let's look at security. So fraud alerts from bank protecting your money in real time. So we need data scientists to work. So for those who really will be delving into data science, you'll see that at some point there's some sort of intersection between data science and a little bit of cyber security protocol. All right, but I'm not going to go into all of the details. So, but basically, you see data science also playing out in security. All right. Then other things like navigation, so traffic prediction on maps, helping you avoid delays. You've used Google Maps a lot. You didn't know that it's data that is at work there, especially data science at work there. Also health, all right? Different apps, a lot of predictive modeling and monitoring on those apps. Those things happen at the back end. You just see that it looks like magic at the front end. There are people that actually work behind the scene, data science and now AI engineers. All right. So if you join tomorrow's session, I'm also going to be, walking you through, how AI engineering is actually on fire and taking over everywhere. But generally, data science is a very powerful skill in the 21st century, and data scientists, trust me, they are people that actually manage the data ecosystem within the tech space generally. Okay, so you interact with data science in your every single day life. Now let's look at what data scientists actually do, and I'm going to run very quickly. I think I'll just pause on that and move quickly to some of the things you need to know. Then we're going to get hands-on. So yeah, I will stay together. If you are still with me, please use your favorite emoji. Okay, so I think it's just one person that is still with me.
Yeah, well, with you. Emojis are going up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Right. Now, sometimes what comes to mind immediately when you hear data science is code. Okay, by the way, there's a distinction between data analysis or data analytics and data science. Yeah, quite. So, frankly speaking, from experience, data science is more complex, all right, than data analysis. However, they are uniquely positioned based on the needs of businesses. There are times that there are certain businesses, they don't even need data scientists. All they need is data analysts. So that means that whether you're a data analyst or you're a data scientist, you are equally as important, in the industry. So as data scientists, we do not just write code. All right. So we try to bridge, the gap between raw data and business value. All right. And then we use analytical thinking to solve real problems. So what we pretty much do, our goal is not just to write code. It's not just to be technical. Our goal is to be able to use raw facts that have not been processed to make sense of them, and then to provide recommendation, advisory, to businesses and what have you. Okay, so let's look at it more specifically. So one of the things we do is that we ask meaningful business questions. You see, one of the things you will note about data scientists is that they're very smart people, all right? Even if you're not very, very smart, before you become a data scientist, you naturally become very smart, because businesses, the life of a business relies on your recommendation at the end of the day. It relies on your analysis. It relies on your predictions. All right. So it then means that you must be such and such person that is very logical, very analytical in nature. So you find yourself asking very meaningful business questions. All right. So because if you don't know the problem you want to address, you won't know the opportunities and how to even go about it. Okay. So we pretty much ask meaningful business questions as data scientists. We want to understand the pain point of the clients, the stakeholders, or a management team, depending on the organization you are working with. Okay, so they could have issues around sales. All right, they could have issues around customer churn, CHURN. Some people registered for maybe a program or a service that they offer, or we're on a particular subscription, but at some point they just dropped off. So what happened? All right, those are some of the common business problems that businesses have, and they need experts that do not just have technical expertise, all right, but also have some business acumen to be able to analyze their problem, able to gather data, raw data, and then to create business value, with that data that, oh, okay, so this is it. This is why this is happening. All right, let me just mention generally, basically in fact, in data analysis, generally, we have 4 types of analysis. All right, we have descriptive analysis, we have prescriptive analysis, we have predictive analysis, and we have diagnostic analysis. I'm going to repeat them. We have descriptive analysis. It's asking, oh, okay, so what happened? Okay, what happened? What happened? So that can be from you analyzing the data on sales for the past 6 months. All right, and just to observe, okay, so this was what happened. It's just to describe the situation. All right. Then we have diagnostic. In diagnostic, you don't just check what happened. You're checking, so why did it happen? So at some point you were doing advertising, but you stopped doing advertisements. Okay. Either of the two is correct, advertising, advertising. But you stopped. Okay, so maybe there's an issue with that. Okay. So during this season, there was a decline. Okay, could it be because of weather? Could it be because of the season? All right. Okay, so during winter they experienced this surge in sales, but then during summer there was a decline. What could have happened? All right. So in diagnostic, you're asking, why did that thing that happened happen? Okay, then we have predictive. Predictive is what will happen based on trend. All right, based on the time series data that you have collected over time. Okay, you've mastered it, you've used some data analytical and data scientific tools to understudy, the patterns, and then you're able to make predictions into the future, and they say, boom. So if you do this, or if this continues to hold, then there's a likelihood that this will happen. So we have different tools we use there, like regression analysis, where you study relationships, and then you say, okay, so if this changes, then this is likely going to happen. Then you can make recommendation that, okay, so do this, okay, do that. That way you become valuable to businesses, because businesses, they're looking for every means to make money. Trust me, they're looking for every means to, sustain and increase revenue, sales. All right. So they need people that can look into their data set and then make predictions, or create an automated system to help them to reduce human dependencies on certain processes. All right. Then we have what we call the prescriptive, and that's where you make prescription based on certain analysis. So that's just a little bit of digression so that you would understand a few things about the data space. So we ask meaningful business questions. That's what we do. We are very smart people. We want to understand the real problem. Once we understand it, then it defines how we collect our data. There are various ways to collect data. I can't start explaining all of those here, and that, trust me, and that's why you really have to plan and register for a very structured program that in, let's say 5 to 8 months positions you as a valuable person in a tech ecosystem. Sometimes I wonder why people run away from something. I mean, within a year, you can dramatically change your earning potential by over 50,000 US dollars. You can convert that to Naira because, again, you become globally relevant, like I said earlier at the beginning, right? That's what a tech value does to you. You do not just have access to opportunities locally, but also internationally and remotely, actually. So what are the other things we do? So we work on real, messy, and imperfect data. So it's important to state it clearly that many a times when we collect data from whatever sources, just like I mentioned before, that we have different sources. Sometimes you collect the data yourself based on the problem you want to address, either through surveys and what have you. You could also decide to go on someone's website to scrape data from their social media. All right, it's something called sentiment analysis, where you want to see what the customers of that brand, what they are saying about a particular product or service. All right. Okay. So do we have more positive sentiment or negative sentiment or neutral sentiment? Okay. So those are the things that we do as data scientists. All right. We want to be able to understand what's up. So most times when we collect this data, they're not usually perfect. Okay, so we'll be missing values here and there. Now there's some concepts I might be using that you are totally new to. It's okay. Okay, just hear them first. As you continue to build in your journey, you're going to understand better what this concept actually means. And you're going to be applying them yourself, using them, yourself. All right, so we handle incomplete information and then we try to transform them into usable format because the integrity of our data is very important. We can't analyze the data we've not trusted. Whatever recommendation you make or whatever insight you draw out of a data that is not clean, it's already compromised. You can't trust it. All right, so your data has to be reliable. It has to be valid. Okay, so we try to standardize our data in such a way that it's usable, and that by the time we begin to crush data, like I will tell people, if you torture the data enough, it's going to confess, just like a police would torture a suspect just so that they can actually confess. There are a lot of beautiful things, insights, and recommendations you can draw from a data, but then you have to, really, really torture the data well and use different techniques. So we also try to, we discover patterns people miss. Okay, you see, top managers, stakeholders, clients, what have you, they might think they are smart in their own business, but there are things that they actually miss. All right, that based on their expertise, they still do not understand. All right, so with data science, we're able to find hidden relationships and trends in very complex data sets, and then we're able to, communicate effectively to managers what they need to do next. All right. Also, we explain insights in simple terms, and that's very, very important. You see, as a data scientist, you're going to have some domain expertise. Domain expertise is understanding the language of the business data you are interacting with. If it's fintech, you need to be familiar with the languages there. If you're analyzing geography data, you need to be familiar with geography concepts. If you're analyzing data from retail, like Jumia, you need to be familiar with the concept there, because when you're communicating your insight, you must be able to speak in the language of the stakeholders. Like I said, the data scientists, they're very smart people. You can't undergo a proper data science training and not become a very smart person, generally, in every aspect of life, because it helps you to think. So we translate very technical findings into clear business languages, and that's why we try to use tools like visualization tools. We use charts, we create reports and dashboards, here and there. Then one more thing that we do is we help organizations make better decisions. I've said that like covertly and overtly a couple of times. So we provide evidence-based recommendations that drive growth eventually. All right, at this point, I'm going to ask you to ask questions before I conclude, and then we're going to go into the practical session because I want it to be pretty much hands-on. Question? You must ask questions. Yes, I want to take it all together. So we have, for me, please just keep your digital hand up. Fumilayo is one. Who is going next? I want to take like 3 questions because we're trying to build clarity. It's very important for us to build clarity. Question. Question. So we don't have question. Interesting. That means I thought really well. That's good. I'm clapping for myself. That's really good. You people should clap for me now. Hmm? You should clap for me with your thank you, Chika. Thank you. All right, so let's just take Fumilayo's question and then I'm going to. Okay, so you sound a little bit low though. Can it be a bit more audible? So
Can you hear me now? Am I loud?
Yes, sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I said thank you for job well done so far. I just want to find out because everything you've mentioned is basically like everything a data analyst does. What exactly makes the work of a data scientist a bit different from a data analyst?
That's the most beautiful question. I was expecting everyone to actually ask. All right. So I'm going to answer in a bit because I'm both a data analyst and a data scientist. So I'm seeing a question in the chat. I think it's also similar to that. All right. So, but just before I answer that, I'm going to ask anyone, does anyone know the difference? Let me ask you, do you know the difference between data analytics and data science? Anybody? All right. So I'm going to assume that we are all novices. Okay. So I'm going to give you a scenario just to draw the distinction. But the first thing I need to do is to establish the similarity. It's very important for me to establish the similarity. So the first thing you should note is that either as a data scientist or as a data analyst, you're going to be analyzing data. Okay, so we need to first set that tone clearly. All right. So you're going to be, analyzing data a lot. All right. Now, while data analysis or data analytics, all right, so analytics is more modern concept as it relates to the technologies that we use in data analysis. It's more about analyzing data for insights to support decision. General, you also do that in data science. Now, data science is a lot deeper than that. All right. Now, data science solves problem in a more complex way. All right, because we build something we call predictive models. All right, which we do not do in data analysis. So a data scientist is like a detective, all right, who solves problems, mysteries, complex mysteries using data. They dig very deep into data, they build predictive models, and they uncover, patterns and answer big questions of the future. All right. So majorly, if you ask, okay, so what's the question of data science? It's what's the best way to recommend product to customers. All right. Now, data science uses more advanced technologies than data analysis. Okay. Data analysis most times is more focused on what happened and the now. But data science is more concerned about both what happened, what is happening, and what should actually happen, in the future. Okay, so they have a lot of intersection, but in practice, they are a whole lot, like it's a very different world entirely. And when it comes to tools, I think it's important for me to mention this. When it comes to the tools that we use in both, now as a data analyst, the knowledge of Excel, the knowledge of SQL, that's SQL, structured query language, and let's say Power BI, at least one visualization tool like maybe Click or Tableau or Power BI, it's just enough for you to, be a data analyst, right? Maybe a little bit of Python, programming, but it's not compulsory. But you see, in data science, you need to be familiar with at least a programming language to like Python. You need to know SQL very well, and you need to know at least one visualization tool like Power BI, Click, and the rest of them. Okay, so these are some of the sharp distinction between the two. Okay, so let me know if that's clear. I'll be happy to explain further.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, so is it also clear for every other person? So by the way, feel free to ask questions. It's possible that my response is still ambiguous to some people. So please feel free to ask questions and I'll be able to mention that. Okay, so it's a question I get a lot all the time. So it's possible for a data scientist to be a data analyst, but it's not always possible. But let me put it this way, because the data analyst can decide to upgrade and say, okay, I want to become a data scientist. So let me put it this way. By default, as a data scientist, you're a data analyst. By default, actually. By default. However, a data analyst is not a data scientist by default. I just wanted to mention that. So let me just give a few examples of some of the work or projects that we do in both. So let me think of a few off the top of my head. That way it would provide some level of clarity again, to the two. Then I'm going to respond to the question on data science versus cybersecurity. Those are quite different, even though at some point we have some intersecting factors. So let's look at some data science examples. So so one that's coming to my head is so imagine, Umlayo, please confirm you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can still hear you, and I just dropped a message in the chat box now. Okay, what do you guys
so you
do? What exactly do you do with machine learning as a DS? What do you do with machine learning? I think that is
all right. So
what makes data science
yeah,
different from data. One of those things.
Yeah. So I'm going to come to that in a bit, right? And so you seem to have a little bit of knowledge. So mention machine learning and would have been maybe a bit bigger than the scope of this class. But then since it has been mentioned, then we're going to speak to it in a bit. But let me quickly give a little bit of examples from maybe like one or two examples from both data science and data analytics. So that way you'd also understand, a bit more. All right. So think of so let's say a tech company wants to predict customer churn. So I explained customer churn a little bit earlier. So who can remind me of what I mentioned about customer churn? And I even spelled the churn, CHURN. Let me see if you're following. Look at my students. What is customer churn? Don't use ChatGPT and don't use any generative AI. What is customer churn? We'll start the class all over again if nobody will tell me what customer churn is. Should I start calling names? I'm a teacher.
No, we're not starting all over again.
Okay, so let's go.
Customer churn, like kind of the amount of customers. I don't know. I can't remember.
Is it your network?
No, I muted myself. I want to do what you asked us not to do. I want to ask ChatGPT. Just ask the internet.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so here, the Google, just ordinary Google Charts Copilot is saying that customer churn refers to the number of existing customers lost over a given period of time. It is a critical metric for businesses as it provides insight into customer satisfaction and loyalty, helping to identify potential changes in the company's bottom line.
All right, so you understand the context now, right? So when we say customer churn, okay, so Andrew said customers that are not retained by an organization. So when an organization begins to lose customers, it's a big deal, isn't it? Right? Customers are supposed to be on retainership. Isn't it a big business pain point?
It is.
It is, right?
It is.
Right. So let's say a tech company wants to, let's say they have a software solution, a product, like an app. All right. And, so they're interested they want to predict customer churn. All right. So every time I say customer churn, you already understand what I'm referring to. Now, so what will a data scientist do in that case? So a data scientist is going to build a model, all right, using customer behavior data. All right. So customer behavior data is the data of the way their customers have been behaving from, the way they purchase, how they purchase, peak period, and all of those things. All right. So the data scientist is going to build a model using the customer behavior data to forecast who will likely leave the service. Now, there are certain attributes. Every customer has unique attributes. All right. So it could be that there are certain customers that live in certain location. They are the ones that drop off from that product often. That can be a factor. So through the model, we're able to understand that. By the way, I do not have enough time to start explaining what models are. But all of you at some point, you've interacted with a model, even right from secondary school. Now, how many of you are familiar with, or let me ask the question, what is the equation of a straight line? You know, I'm a mathematician, so I'm asking plenty questions. What is the equation of a straight line? How do you write the equation of a straight line? Don't check AI. Don't check AI.
Equals to mx plus c.
Say that again.
Y is equals to mx plus c.
Good. Can you please clap for yourself? Now I'm teaching us like we're in primary school, and it's all right. Y equals mx plus c. Okay, so now for you to get the full score, you need to explain each variable in that model. Now that's an example of a model. Y equals mx plus c. I'm trying to type it in the chat box. Some of you will be like, so we've come to math class. By the way, as a data scientist, you need to do a lot of maths here and there. But don't worry, you have good tutors in the house. So I'm sure all of you are registering for the program that is starting in January, so that we would have more time to really dig deep into these things. All right. So we are still coming to all of the questions. We're taking it one step at a time. So who was the person that just told us Y equals mx plus c?
It was me,
Please, what's your name?
David Elumelu.
All right. So in 1 minute, can you explain this? And can you explain why it is a model?
Okay, it gives you like a go-to map, a structure of what to expect in a straight line graph. It's like a reference.
Okay, like a template. All right.
Yes.
So when you say model, when you say someone is my role model, I'm trying to help you understand model, right? When you say, that person is my role model, what are you simply saying? Can Fumilayo try to attempt to that now?
Someone you want to be like your gold standard.
Okay, thank you. But I also want Fumilayo to respond to that.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry, I
Fumilayo-
didn't unmute myself and I was talking. I'm so sorry. So
Okay,
when you say
all
someone
right.
is your model, someone you aspire to be like, someone you seems to be an
Okay,
inspiration to you, kind of.
okay, all right. So someone you want to imitate,
Oh, yeah.
someone that has certain attributes, that you admire. All right. So a template. Okay. Now let me quickly use Y equals mx plus c. There are different ways you can write it. Some will say Y. You can decide not to use Y and X. You can decide to use A and B. Okay. So you can decide to. There are different things you can use. Okay. Yeah. So someone you look up to, a reference point. Great. Great. Okay. So when we say model or modeling, what exactly are we talking about? Now, let's look at this Y equals mx plus c together. I want to do a little bit of math. By the way, you can't do data science. Let me just put that disclaimer out. You can't do data science without knowing some math here and there. Okay? You're going to be doing a lot of maths and statistics, but it's all fun, right? When you get the right tutor. And that's what I tell people. This thing can be really, really adventurous when you find the right tutor. Okay. Now let's assume Y is sales. Okay, sales. Let's say I'm selling orange. I'm selling orange, and this is December. All right, and I want to understand what sales will look like for coming months, and I want to mathematically represent this, because these are the things you need to. You see, let me tell you something about data science. If you do not understand the theory, you can never understand the practical. All right. If you do not understand how to calculate, there's something called regression analysis. If you do not know how to do regression analysis, if you do not know how to study relationship between variables, when I say variable, a variable is anything that can take or assume a prescribed set of values. I know that's ambiguous, but let me simplify it. Sales, for example, is a variable. All right. Let's say advertisement or advertisement, all right, is another variable. Okay, so let's say that y is a variable and x is a variable. All right, guys, are you still following me? If you are following me, please use your favorite emoji. All of you that ran away from maths, God has catch you today. You're always running away from maths. You have met maths today. Okay, so picture M and C as constant. There are things that influence, those variables that influences sales and advertisement. All right. Now, M especially is what we call slope, or the gradient of the slope. But by the way, you would understand what those things mean by and by. Now, with this simple model or with this simple equation, all right, we want to develop a model to be able to understand. Okay, so based on the existing data, if we knew what has been happening for 12 months, are we able to predict what will happen in the next 3 months? Guys, I'll be happy to say this again and again because I want you to really get the logic behind how we actually make predictions using what we call models or templates. Okay, so Y is sales, all right, and X is let's say number of advertisements. All right, so let's say in January we have so number of advertisement, and then we recorded a particular amount of sales. Let's say we have 200 sales in January, and then in that same January we did advertisements. We did like 5 different advertisements. In February, our sales went to 400. Our advertisement went to 8. In March, our advertisement we dropped it to like 4, but our sale was at 600, and it went on like that. Different figures throughout the year. I don't want to wrap your head too much around this thing because we are not writing on a whiteboard, so you might not really picture it fully, but I want you to follow quietly. Now, I have an average sale, and to get the average, I need to add up all the sales for the 12 months from January down to December. 200, 400, 600, maybe it reduced to 500, then like that to December. Added everything divided by 12, that's the average, that's the mean. All right, so it gives me a single value to represent my Y. All right, my X as well is, which is advertisement or advertisement. I added what's the word? I added all the advertisement, number of advertisement per month and divided by 12, and I got the value. Okay, now I'm driving somewhere bit by bit. So for the year 2025, all right, after doing all the calculation, which I'm not going to go into details because there's a way to calculate our M, all right, using the regression formula, because that's our gradient of the slope. Now, once we get a value or like a weighted value that can be used to represent M, it means when you make those values subject of the, then you make, things subject of the formula. You now ask questions like, now that we've gotten our Y, we've gotten our M, we've gotten our X, all right, and our C is our intercept, which is we call it intercept of the slope. What happens when we change the value of X, that's advertisement, to let's say 50? What would now be our new value of Y? Then we are trying to make Y subject of the formula. Guys, are you still following me? Please use your favorite emoji. Even if you didn't get it 100%, if you got it, let's say 50%, use your favorite emoji. Okay, Mercy got it. Okay, David. Okay, see, God catch all of you that have been running away from maths. Data science has brought you back to maths. Now the bottom line is this. You want to be able to know what sales will look like. That's why it will look like if we alter or if we change advertisement, for example. Let's say we now say, okay, we want to change advertisement to so number based on this template, based on this model. All right, let's see what the situation will look like for when Y is so, or when X rather is so. What would sales be? Businesses are interested in knowing, okay, so currently the highest we've done in terms of sales for 2025 is just 1,000 sales. What can we do? What can we do in order for us to have sales of 3,000? Then we need to have a model. That's the beauty of models. So models, in summary, they establish relationship between variables. By variables, we're referring to things like sales, advertisements in this case. All right. So basically, data scientist. So now in the case of that tech company that wants to predict customer churn, so the data scientist has to build a model. I've taken my time to explain model. So now you know model, and you know it once and for all. Amen. So you build a model using customer behavior data, all right, to forecast. So you can't forecast or predict without having previous data. All right. So you want to forecast who will likely leave the service, all right, based on certain attributes. Now, again, the things I'm mentioning might still be vague to some people, but to an extent, you're beginning to relate with it bit by bit. Another example of what data scientists will do is to, so let's say for an e-commerce site, all right, for an e-commerce site, so let's say we want to recommend products, all right, we want to recommend certain product on the website. Now, so a data scientist is going to create what we call algorithms, all right? Algorithms that predict what users will buy based on past behavior. Data analysts do not do this, okay? A data analyst cannot actually do this. The best a data analyst can do is to observe a pattern, okay? And that's why, so although while we do a little bit of predictive analysis in, in data science, it's a little bit more complex when we're dealing with complex data, and that's where we need to use what we call machine learning. I'm going to explain, machine learning a bit, but then let's first deal with the distinction. So I'm going to give you one example of data analysis or data analytics. So think of a retail store. Okay, so let's say a retail store wants to know sales performance last month. That's why you see data analysts, any small thing, they're building dashboard, any small thing, they've used Power BI, any small thing. I'm using as if I don't do that myself as an analyst, but I'm more tilted towards, data science, right? So data analysts, what we do is we crunch the numbers, because I did with sales performance last month. We want to break the number, we want to, crunch the numbers to reports on sales trends. So we do things like trends. Okay, so what are the top products and all of that, right? Let me give another example. So let's say a manager asks, how did your marketing campaign do? Okay, so a data analyst, all right, or data analyst generally, what they will do is they're going to pull the data to answer the specific questions. Okay, so this is what happened in the campaign. Another thing again to note is, let me just give this last example, and then we're going to move to the next thing. So let's say a company needs to track website traffic, how many people are entering our website and all of that. So a data analyst is going to analyze the user data to report on, on page views. How many views did we have? Okay, what are the bounce rates? Those in the digital marketing space understand what I mean by, bounce rate and all of that. So basically, data scientists, we predict the future or solve complex problems, and we often use advanced models. So those advanced models require a lot of programming, a lot of machine learning, because we build algorithms. All right, data analysts, they don't do that. Okay, but basically in data analytics, we look at the past data and then we answer specific questions or report trends. While we also do that in data science, but it's a lot deeper than that. Again, like I tell people, there are things that it is when you practice it that you're able to really, really see the sharp distinction, all right, between them. Okay, but in all, we use machine learning in data science. So I'm going to talk about that. I'll then talk about the distinction between data science and cybersecurity, and then we're going to do some hands-on practice. If you followed me to this point, please use your favorite emoji. Or if you're enjoying class, please use your favorite emoji so that we'll know if we should just start going confused. Those of you that are not using favorite emojis because we did maths, you will not confess now. You've never liked maths. You're always running away from maths. Okay. And by the way, I'm a very playful teacher. So because math is already hard, so let's keep the tension down. Okay. So now, machine learning, I'm not going to speak deeply into it, but I'll just mention because someone mentioned machine learning. As the word implies, machine learning, making machine to learn something. All right. So there's something called supervised learning, unsupervised learning. The idea is just to be able to, train a machine to do something so on its own by itself. Okay, because we do a lot of predictions in data science, so we use machine learning and is a key part of data science. So it helps us to predict outcomes based on patterns. All right. Another thing is automation. Okay, so while you see as you advance in data science, you consider automation in data science is quite different from automation in data analytics. Okay, and it's just because we deal with more complex data in data science than in analytics. All right. So we use machine learning to automate very complex tasks, all right, like image recognition. So image recognition is not something really, really common in data analytics, but data science, we don't just deal with numbers. All right, we deal with text, we deal with images. All right, I think recently analyzed farm produce that were doing badly, and it is images I was analyzing as data. It means that the scope of the data that we analyze as data scientists is broader compared to what data analysts do, right? And it's because data analytics, it's an offshoot or offspring of the traditional data analysis as we used to know it, with just majorly around numbers, figures, basically. But data science is a lot wider than that. We analyze all kinds of data, whether images and what have you. Okay. So yeah, basically, so ML or machine learning is pretty much like an aspect or like a subset of data science, right? So it is a powerful tool that we use in data science. Please don't ignore my WhatsApp messages. I'm sharing my entire screen. So let me just drop this so you don't see my WhatsApp messages. It's not part of what you're learning. Okay. So please, there's one more question before we go to writing code. Can someone please help me? What's that one question? Someone asked a question. Okay, yeah, so I think it's between data science and cybersecurity. So it's quite different. So cybersecurity does not really, analyze data as it were. It pretty much, cybersecurity in simple terms is to protect data and systems from threats. There are cyber threats everywhere, right? So like you have your digital footprint everywhere. You put your password here, you put your login details here, you upload your identity here, your ID cards and all of that. So those places where you upload those things, where you input those things, they need to be protected so that third parties do not access your information, your data. All right. And that's why we need cybersecurity. So cybersecurity interacts with data only to the extent of protecting data, and also the systems from threats. But data science, we generate insights from data through optimization and predictions. Basically, that's it. All right. So if you got to this point, please again use your favorite emoji. If your energy hasn't gotten low because we're talking maths, let's keep it coming. Let's keep it going. Okay, so I think it's quite high. All right. So before we go into so I need to be sure of people that I'm going to meet in the real class, because all we are doing here, we're just playing. Then you do play too much. We're just playing here. Before I go further, all right. And it's not like I'm selling anything, but if you think I'm selling something, it's all right. So because now we're going to be writing a little bit of code here and there. But then I want to find out how many of you are really, really interested. Let's say you're one of your New Year resolutions to become a data scientist that is really, really, really good. Please raise your digital hand. Let's know those are with us and those are against us. 1. I cannot be spilling speech like this. There's only one person that will say they're interested. It means I've not convinced you. No, you don't know how to. Please, can we help? Okay, 2. Please just keep your hands up because I need to count. Okay. Funlayo, please keep your hands up now. Don't tell me you've changed your mind.
I didn't drop a hand. It's there. I'm still pressed on the list.
Oh, it's still on. Okay, I'm wondering why I can't. Okay, 3 hands are raised.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So who else?
You have not even shown up. course outline. You want to, yeah, okay, you asked who among us has this
Yeah. Yeah.
New Year resolution to become a data science. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
That's fine.
your voice is pretty low. Or is it from my end?
Yeah, I said you asked, you want to know those who have who have it in their goals for the next
Yes, for 2026. Yes.
for it to become a data scientist, right?
Right.
You have not said
Right.
how many people are coming on board with Amdo. That's not it.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the program that is coming on board. And in fact, let me put it this way again. How many of you would like for me to teach you data science in 2026? Let's put it that way. Okay. Okay. So you know what? Whether you like it or not, you don't have a choice. You have to become a data scientist in 2026. Whether you want to make money or not, whether you want to increase your market value or not, you don't have a choice in this 2026. The fact that 2025 came, you planned it and planned it and planned it, and you're still planning. This is December. What's today's date? December. This is December
22, December 22, 2025.
22nd, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You are still planning it. You know, at the beginning of the year, you say, let's see how it goes. And this is December. All right. So that's just me, encouraging you that you need to jump right into this in 2026. So let's do a little bit of practical here and there. And so let me first, so I created some code scripts. I'm going to, and don't run away. I don't want to see Lagbaja left the call because you are beginning to see code. It's all right. You are safe. Don't. So, just so that we don't start writing fresh code here and there on the call, because that would take so much time. I just want you to, I want us to work on something very simple. We're going to be working on an online retail sales data. Okay, let's see if we'll get to the point of prediction, of creating a model. All right, because that's what we pretty much do as data scientists. Again, I need you to note that a one-day lecture is not enough for you to be deeply rooted in data science. Okay, but it is enough to stir your curiosity. It's enough to inspire you. It's enough to, especially with someone like me that has sweet mouth. It's enough for you to be like, this thing, even though you do very difficult things, even though you will learn plenty math, probability, you will learn statistics, and all of that thing. But it's all fun and really adventurous. All right. So I'm going to be working with the data set. I already have the data set on my computer. I'm going to open the data set. So first thing you want to do, once you've identified the business problem and then the data you need to address it, you need to understand the data itself, then clean it and all of that. So let's go to my desktop environment. So I have this data, online retail, sales. It's a data on sales. Okay, let me minimize this. Cybersecurity. So you all will not see the things on my computer. Okay, so I think it's opening somewhere around here. All right, I'm going to close this. So this is in the CSV format. So most times when you either collect data or download data from a database, it comes in different file formats or extension. All right, we have the Excel format, or we have the what we call the CSV file format. CSV is comma separated file, comma separated value file format. That's CSV. So you might have seen, the CSV. Please, if you got that, raise your hands or use your favorite emoji. I need to be sure we are actually learning. Okay, makes sense. All right. I like the energy in the house. People are very, by the way, data scientists, they're not boring people. They're not always too serious. Yeah, powerful kind of people. So I'm going to go back to the Excel sheet. All right. So imagine you've collected this data from whatever means, however you collected it, we don't want to know. And we want to, we want to use this real sales data, from an So we think this came from an online retail business. Online retail businesses are like Amazon, Jumia, Konga, and the rest of them like that. So generally, want to understand, customer purchases and want to be able to make simple prediction. Hopefully, we'll be able to make predictions. We have like 50 minutes more for this session. All right. So you don't need to worry so much about coding. I just need you to follow exactly what I'm going to be doing. Some of you would have to revisit, the recording of, this session and then practicalize the things we're going to be doing here again. And that way, you've dipped your feet into data science and understand the logic. Now, you will notice that the way I've been teaching, I'm trying to strike a balance between you learning technical part of data science and also understanding the communication path. It's one thing to be able to write codes well. It's one thing to be able to analyze data well. It's one thing to be able to build models. All right. Is yet another thing to be able to communicate findings effectively. So those are things you need to actually master as you build. Now, let's first explore our data to understand the variables in our data, and then we're going to move into the tool that we're going to be using. Now, I didn't have time to really explore some of the tools of, your tool pack or your toolkit as a data scientist. What are the things you need to note? I'm going to be mentioning them as we continue. But first, let's look at this data. Now, by now, I would think that by default, you're familiar with, you're familiar with Excel, you're familiar with rows and columns, all right? These are columns, A, B, C, and these are rows, or where we have the cases, or where you have the data. Now, obviously, this is from a retail store, all right? You can see the products, the description of the products that have been sold. We have some markers or identifiers for the products. So you see the invoice number, this for a particular product that was purchased. All right, you see the stock code. There's a stock code. Then for that particular product, there's a description. Okay, so to quickly, I can't see all of this in full. I can just click on this to highlight, and then I can click on this. Click on this. It's going to spread out, so that I can see fully what is there. Then you can see quantity that was purchased. So for white hanging heart tea light holder, I can immediately see that, the quantity purchased is 6. I can see the invoice date. It has the year, it has the month, it has the day, it has even the hour and the minute. Then the unit price, whether it is in dollars, whatever the unit price is, we don't know. For now, let's just ignore that, all right, because we don't set it at currency. By the way, if you want to change something to currency, this is where to come to. So we have customer ID, and then we have country. It's not just the United Kingdom we have here. We have so many other countries, all right? So we have a basic idea of our data, what our data sets actually looks like. So if I may ask, how many columns do we have? Can someone unmute themselves and tell us how many columns do we have? How many columns do we have in the data?
8.
I didn't hear you well, although I heard 8. 8. Please, what's your name and how many columns do we have? Okay. So we have 8 columns. All right. So let me see someone that's very, 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 very smart. How many rows do we have?
21.
21 rows. Please, can we all stand up and give him a standing ovation? Everybody on the call? I'm standing already. Everybody on the call. Why are you clapping? I'll bite all of you that are clapping. Actually,
That's only way you can relate with us on our feet. How do you want to know we're on our feet?
Okay, so I'm sure why you said 21 is because I didn't scroll down. So is this still 21?
I wanted to say, can you select row 1 to the last? Let's see, because I'm seeing 500 and.
So I asked deliberately because I just went to the last row now. So deliberately I asked because at a glance there was no way you would have known, right? So I was shocked when it said 21, right? So what do we have here?
500
and 81,587 sales, so to say, or entries. All right. So we're going to find out all of this. I will just briefly in Excel. Well, anyway, we didn't analyze data in Excel, right? So we just did some, we just wanted to understand what our data look like. All right, so we're going to be using a tool that data scientists normally use, all right, which is Python. Okay, so Python. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Python. So we use many tools. We use a lot of programming languages. We use R and Python especially as data scientists. Okay, so R is the baby of data scientists, and Python, like we use, they are so dear to our hearts. We love them so much. Any small thing Python, any small thing R. All right. So they are both programming language. By the way, if you're not familiar with programming language itself, you need to picture programming language as just any language like French. All right. You will not be able to communicate or operate in that language if you do not know the language. Okay. So that means that you need to first learn the language in order for you to apply it, because you can do many things with that language. So Python, there are so many things. We use Python in data science. We use Python in web development, in app development. We use Python for so many things. Okay. So, but first we need to understand, the language. All right. Then, so because it's a language, it has a place where it can be like an environment where you can interact with it. All right. Easily, if I want to interact with French speakers or speak the French language really well, I will probably go to France. All right. So France is like an environment where by default, French language operates easily. Okay. So France, in this case, I want you to picture France as an IDE. All right. So another concept you're learning today is IDE. IDE is an acronym for Integrated Development Environment, IDE. So an integrated development environment is that environment that allows you to communicate in a particular programming language, in this case, Python. So we want to use Google Colab as our IDE. The other IDEs that can be installed into your local machine or your computer, some of you would have heard of Jupyter Notebooks, it's part of, a system like Anaconda and all of that. Again, when you come for class in the new year, we're going to be learning a lot about all of those. But for now, for the sake of this learning, we're just going to be using a cloud-based platform, in this case, Google Colab. All right, so you just simply need to go online and you can just type Colab. When you type Colab and say enter, it gives you this. So the first thing here, you can just click on it, colab.google. All right, excuse me. So once you click on it, wait for it. Boom, you're going to see this Google Collaboratory. So Collaboratory is, so the short form of Collaboratory is Colab or Google Colab. So you want to say new notebook. So once you say new notebook, it's going to bring it to your IDE, to the integrated development environment, where you can then write, on that programming language, in this case, Python. Okay, so this is what an, empty, Python environment looks like. Okay, so usually it's untitled, so you want to give it a title. Okay, so I just want you to see how it looks like generally. So why we use programming languages? Because they are faster. They help us to solve very complex things in a simple way. Example of programming language is Python, which we are using now. Python is a high-level language because it operates just like English language. Your code can be written just like English. It means if you can understand the language of Python, you and Python can interact. You can ask Python to do stuff for you. Okay, you say, oh, Python, I need you to print the first 20 rows. All right, there's a way Python understands it. It means you need to understand how Python understands it so that you can speak it to Python, and the Python is going to help you to execute that thing. All right, just like Excel as well, it has inbuilt functions. All right, things like sum, if, all of those conditional format and all of that. They are inbuilt functions. That's the language. So if you can understand it, then you can use it well. So this is what it pretty much looks like. All right. So the first thing we want to do is to rename the notebook. So I'm going to use the existing one that I've already created. That will save us a lot of time. I'm going to close this. By now, you already know how to open an integrated development environment for us to begin to write our code. All right. So I'm going to come back here. All right. So the first thing we need to do is to rename the file. I left this as XYZ so that I'll be able to. So ensure to leave the extension. All right. This IPY blah blah blah. Okay, ensure to leave it. It's an extension. I'm not going to tell you the full meaning. You can go and check it later, or when you come to class next year, you'll learn it. Okay. I hope some of you are not holding grudges against me because I said that. Guys, if you're still following, please use your favorite emoji. If you're still following me. How can you not know data science 2026? Okay. We've made it as lively as possible. All these difficult things. By the way, we've not done anything difficult. That's just introduction. However, at least you should calm your nerves down from the start so that you won't think it's hard. Okay, so let's rename this. So we're going to call this, let's call it online. I'm going to call it online, online retail. Then I'm going to say data underscore science. Okay, so we're just trying to do some demonstration here. And I'm going to say enter. Okay, so I've been able to rename it. Notice that I left the .ipynb extension. All right, like I said, I'm not going to tell you the full meaning. When you come to class next year, I'll tell you the full meaning. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to bring our data to the environment where we are writing our program. Remember, this is a language. Python is a language. I want you to do some things for us as data scientists. We have collected the data. We want to address some pain points. In a bit, I'm going to tell you the pain points we want to be addressing bit by bit. But then we need to be familiar with the language itself. See, you cannot learn the language on this code. It's not possible. And that's why you just need to follow me to see the things I've actually done. Even for me, I'm not going to be writing the code live. I've written them just before now, so save us time. But then you can follow just to understand some basic things. So first things first, I need to bring that. Many ways to do that. I can quickly write some simple line of code to export or to import rather the data set from whatever environment, whether it's my Google Drive, it is in my Google Drive, or it's on my local machine, that's my computer, right? But what I'm going to do is to use the file button here, all right, to import it. So because I already have the data set saved on my computer, I just need to upload it to Google Colab. All right, so to do that, I need to click this folder icon that we have at the left sidebar here. Okay, so once I click on this, first of all, don't be distracted by all of this code. We're going to look at them in a bit. So I'm going to click on file. So once you click on file, it's going to tell you, oh, it's connecting to a runtime to enable file browsing, and that's because we are writing on a cloud-based service. It's online. Okay, so it needs to be able to connect to a server quickly. Okay, so from here, you're going to find a button that looks like this upload button, or it says upload to session storage. It's a session storage we are currently using, and that's because I think the Google account I'm using is free, so it has some limitations, and that's why if I do not do anything with this code for a while, it's going to refresh, and I'm going to have to start everything I'm doing all over again, even though the code script might still be there. Okay, please guys, am I saying anything too ambiguous? If you followed me to this point, please use your favorite emoji. I just want to be sure we are still following. Okay, I know some people have left the call. It's all right, maybe their internet or something. Yeah, so even if it's 10 of you that would come to class next year, please come to class. Let's make money together next year. All right, so let's come back here. I don't know why some people don't just want to make money. Is it that difficult? Okay, learn this thing and then make money. Life shouldn't be this difficult. So you want to click on this. So once you click on that, it's going to take you to your desktop environment. So it's in download. Where I have data is in download. Then you want to click on retail. All right. So let me still click on it. Then I'm going to say okay. All right. So you want to ensure that the file is saved. Okay. So you see something rolling here. It says it's uploaded. I've actually already saved it. So sometimes if it is already saved in that environment, it's going to resave it, but then it might assign another name to it. You can put 1 in brackets in front of this retail just to show that, oh, okay, so you have more than one of that file in the Google Colab environment. So it's already installed, boom. So I can find it here already. So I'm just going to close this. Now that I already have my data in the environment, all right, I need to then do some very important things. Now, there's something called libraries. So just like in every language, they have different things to learn about that language, all right? If you want to learn about Yoruba culture, you want to learn about French mythology, they have different libraries for that, okay? So those libraries help you to understand contextual things, okay? So your ability to use the library, or called module, another word for library is module. It's so there are tools for specific things within that language. So in Python, there's something called pandas. Okay, so so as data scientists, we generally, of course, we use Python, but then within Python, we use different libraries to achieve certain purposes. Okay, so libraries, they're just like tools that make our work easier. All right. So for example, pandas I just mentioned, it also to work with tables. So whenever you have data in maybe the CSV format or Excel format, then your immediate go-to tool is pandas, because pandas helps you to immediately access that data file and to begin to explore the data file. All right. So we want to import pandas. Okay. So see this way, pandas already exist inside Python as a language, but we want to now bring it up as a library for us now to use in this our IDE, which is within Google Colab. All right, so we need to use some very keywords that you need to note. Not the word imports. It's just like English language. When you say, okay, I want to import goods. By the way, I'm going to import things for this Christmas from outside Nigeria. If you imported anything, can you use your favorite emoji? Hope you don't mind. That's how I teach. Did you import anything? All right. So when you imported, how did it go?
So it was brought to my house.
It was brought to your house, right? That thing came from outside, either outside Nigeria, or maybe outside. Even if you imported something from outside Lagos, it's still important. Okay, and you saw it. When the item came, did you see it or not? Was it what you ordered? What you ordered for? Was it exactly what you got?
Yes, 95%. Yes.
Okay. Well, I hope it was not from Temu.
No.
Okay. All right. So import, it means if I say import, I'm telling Python, I need you to import. Python says, okay, great. I understand what you mean by import because it's part of my language. Like I said, Python is a high-level language, meaning it operates just like English language. You can interact with it like you are speaking English. So I need you to import a library called pandas. All right. So pandas, okay. Because later on, I'm still going to use pandas. I'm still going to use pandas as I'm writing my code. All right, later on. But I don't want to be writing pandas in full. That's too long. So as you're importing it, name it as PD. Okay, PD is not Pastor Dolapo. PD is acronym for pandas, guys. Guys, I hope you got that. Okay. So as PD. So once you type this into the cell, by the way, I don't really have so much time to start explaining all of these buttons, but then note that I did something here. So we have code, we have text. You have these buttons to create text. Sometimes just to make your code neat, all right? You want to use text to give subheadings. Picture this as a notebook, all right? Just like you're writing on a normal notebook. And you want to make everything really clean, all right? So first of all, I use text. So if I click on this text now, it allows me to type things. You can bolden it if you want, all right? And all right, so that's for text. Basically, I'm going to delete it. Then for code, if you want to write new code, all right, so it's if I over on it, it tells you so it's insert code cells below. You can also use Control plus MB, all right. I use that spontaneously often, but for the sake of this basic class, you can use this button. So I'm going to delete this as well. So after writing this, all right, you want to use this run button. Once you click on run, it's going to process it and it's going to say, good, in 0 seconds it has processed it. That means we've been able to import pandas as PD into our development environment or our programming environment. Now, the next thing we want to do is to load our data. Remember that we've already uploaded the data, but we now need to load it into Python environment. We've already imported it into Google Colab. So let's see how we can then load it. All right. So this is the code line to use. So we want to use DF. DF means data frame. As you go on, you're going to understand what data frame is. Data frame is just a way of capturing all the things, all data points within your data that you're going to be working with. Okay, because sometimes we can import data from a database. All right, a data can have multiple different data workbooks or sheets. All right, and the data frame captures the specific data you're interested in from the entire data itself. All right, so you can learn a bit more about data frames. So that's the essence of the DF. So we need to define, we need to tell Python what our DF or our data frame is. All right, the scope of our data obviously is from within this our online retail data file that we've already uploaded here. Okay, so we use df. It's pretty much an inbuilt function in Python. As you can see, it's highlighted with this sky blue light thing. All right, so it says, all right, so as you can see, it says data frame. All right, so we'll say data frame equals. Now remember that we've said pandas, so we want to use the library because we've said that this library helps us to interact with data that are in Excel format or the CSV format. All right, so you want to logically, how we write code, we write in a logical way. Okay, now that we've imported the library, now we want to use the library. Now for us to use it, we need to call it. All right, so PD. So we're writing PD. We're simply saying, okay, now I need to use this library. As you can see, merely hovering on it, it gives me some description and tells me a bit about, pandas. Okay. So now I want to use this library. Okay. So, but what do I need this library to do? I need it to read something for me. That's why I'm using the word read. All right. So dot read. Again, this is not the class to start explaining, oh, why are we using dots there? Because first, ideally, you're supposed to first of all learn the language before you then learn the application of the language in data science. Okay, so just follow me. So pd.read, because the file is an Excel format, I'm going to say underscore Excel. We have different file format. We have JSON file format, that's JSON. We have the CSV file format. We have all kinds of file format. But in this case, because our data is in Excel format, we're going to say dot read underscore Excel. I want you to read this file. To read means I need you to access the file format. I want to be able to understand the data before I start working on data. Then it also means that I need you to be able to bring the data into this environment so that we can perform different analysis and stuff on it. Then I'm going to open a bracket or parenthesis. Okay, so inside the parenthesis, we call it argument. All right. If you don't call it argument, you can just say inside the bracket or parenthesis. So we need to pass it. So oftentimes you see developers or data scientists using words like, oh, so we need to write something or pass something into the argument. But it's just simply saying that you need to put something into that bracket. So we need to be able to trace the specific file path where our data is. Guys, please, you follow to this point. Okay, I need to be sure you get every step along the way. I'm not sure we'll be able to complete it, but it'd be great if you really, really got it to that point. All right. So for us to trace the file format, remember that we've already imported our file, our data into the Google Colab environment, and this is it. Okay, so you want to come here and click on this hamburger icon, this 3 dots, boom. You see download, rename, file, delete file, copy path, that's what we need. So you want to copy the path, all right? You want to close this, and you want to paste it here, Control V, then you're going to paste it, or you can just click on your right, what's that thing called, on your keyboard, and then, okay. So it happens that I don't have paste for some reason. So you want to use Control V anyways. Now, if you got to this point, use your favorite emoji. I can go over it again in case you didn't get it. David, I like your favorite emoji. Teary laughter. Okay, not everyone got it. Richard, did you get it? Richard Adetayo. Workflow pilot. Who is workflow pilot? Did you get it? Okay, I need to be sure you all got it. Nandera, did you get it? Did I get your name well? Okay. Okay, Nandera, by the way, you're not muted. Okay. So when I run this, nothing really would happen. Now, let's copy the 5 parts afresh. And that's because I didn't really paste it there. So I'm going to paste it here. So again, who got it to this point? Now, every time you need to quote whatever you put in there. Let me just borrow the previous quote. Why do I feel not everyone got it to that point? Guys, if you did not get it, okay, so let me actually speak to those that didn't get it. If you didn't get it, please use your favorite emoji. So I assume everyone got it.
I think you are explicit enough. I think you're explicit enough. If you just want to run through it, like, okay, you go here, copy this one, paste it here. You might just want to run through it, but you are quite explicit.
Yeah,
I won't say you're staying too long on the information, though.
Okay, so are you working on this in real time? Is anybody working on this in real time? I want them to share their screen.
Oh, did you share the data set that you're using?
No, I haven't. So I'm
So
going
how
to.
do you expect us to work with it?
Unfortunately, I didn't share the data set, so there's no way you would have worked on.
Okay, maybe you probably want us to use any data set we have, right?
So perhaps if you have any data set, can anyone explore this? I want you to. It's supposed to be hands-on. I want you to give it a shot.
What I have is CSV file, not Excel, because you're working
so it's the same principle, right?
Okay.
So yeah.
Access whatever else.
Yeah, so you're going to be using CSV. Okay.
I think we're getting it. Just continue.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So I need to be sure we're all together. Guys, are we together?
David is with you, is laughing. I don't know. He's got
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I would think that's his favorite emoji.
Yes, sir. We are.
Okay. So you copy the file path. You want to bring it into this argument. All right. Ensure it is quoted. Okay. So when you write text, generally, all right, whether it's a file path, whatever it is, you want to ensure that you quote it. That way Python understands what you're doing. So while it is loading and trying to bring it into the environment, I'm just going to walk through this. Okay. So so it's executing the file and all of that. Okay. Now, once you have that sorted, now the next thing you want to do is to then see if the data has been read and has been brought into your development environment. Okay. So this is still your data frame. Now, by add, when we say .add, we're simply saying that I need you to print the. So notice in 58 seconds it has executed that. All right. Now I need you to go into the data set. I need you to print. Now I can decide not to put 20 here. All right. So df is from the data frame. Now we've defined our data. So inside the data frame, it pictures the entire data, all the data points and everything within the Excel format, Excel file or workbook that we are working with. All right. So it's already captured in our data frame. So now within that data frame, I can begin to explore. Since I've defined my data frame, I can decide to say, okay, I want to see the first 5 values. So generally, Python is going to help you print the first 5. Okay, so I removed 20 from this bracket. So when you say df.add, add simply means that I need you to ensure that you print the first 5 rows in my data, including the headers, all right, or the column heads or the variables. Remember that when we opened the Excel sheet, at first we saw these things: invoice number, stock code, all right, but then we're able to scroll down to see that, oh my, we had so many of them. Okay, so inside the bracket, I can decide to say, okay, I need to see more than 5. I want to see the first 10. All right, so I'll just change that, and it gives me the first 10. Notice that in Python, there's something called indexing. All right, indexing is just serial numbering. Permit me to use that word. All right, Python pictures indexing from 0. Like you would want to write serial number normally, Guys, please, are you still following me? If you are still following me, okay, use your favorite emoji. All right, fantastic. All right, so generally, Python indexes from 0, and that's why the first item, all right, in Python, it starts from 0. You see, there are 10, but it ends at 9 because it actually started from 0. Later, you understand indexing as you go deeper. We also use that a lot in NumPy, Pandas, and even in Matplotlib. Those are libraries, by the way. So just like Pandas. Now, this just helps you to quickly see what your data looks like, the head of your data. It immediately helps you to understand your data just at a basic level. In fact, I can decide to say 20. So it prints the first 20 items, all right, within the data, as you can see. All right, but that's not what we're focused on right now. So I'm just going to remove this. All right, so this way we're able to quickly explore our data. You can decide to explore these things later. This helps you to, it suggests different visualization you can do with it, but that's not the focus for now. Now let's pick on a few other things. Let's understand our data structure. This is called the shape of the data. The shape of the data has to do with the rows and the column. That is, how many columns do we have? How many rows do we actually have, in this data set? All right. So basically, that's what our shape means. So again, within our data frames, every time when you say data frame dot shape, you're simply saying that within the data frame that we have captured, that is the entire data itself, everything you have inside that sheet, that Excel sheet. I need you to Python, I need you to tell me what the shape is. Without clicking anything, the programming language, you just need to speak English to it, and then it performs whatever command you've actually given to it. So by df.shape, I'm simply saying from the data frame, I need you to tell me what the shape is. That's what df.shape means. So it's going to tell me, so the first thing it prints is the number of rows or the entries that we have, and then the columns. All right, you see that? So when we run this, it generates this. Okay, so let me rerun it. All right, so it tells me that, oh, actually you have 541,909 entries, and then you have 8 columns. These are basic insights you need to begin to generate as the data scientist working on that data before you begin to do some advanced modeling and all of that on prediction. You need to first of all understand your data at a basic level. So now we know the shape of our data. By shape, we're simply saying the matrices. Okay, so later on you're going to understand, especially if you are really going in depth into learning this, you see that this is all called the matrix of it. All right, because we have different data structures in Python. All right, so for now we know that we're dealing with something that is in rows and column, and that's what the shape means. All right, that's the shape of the data. Okay, so again, we might be interested in just knowing, okay, so I want you to list. Sometimes in real data you might have so many data heads or variables, you can have as much as 50. But then if you want to at a glance see the names of all the columns, how do you do that? Again, from your data frame, you want to pass in, you want to say dot columns. So when you say dot columns, it immediately tells you all the names. All right, so you can easily see that, oh, so it's indexed them. All right, so index is the first thing we have here. Index is a default thing in your Excel sheet. It is ingrained in the data itself. All right, so you see that here, it's not necessarily part of the data itself, but it's part of Excel itself, like numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in Python, it's what it's called index. All right. So that's the essence of the index, and that's why index is mentioned here. So then, but then it then tells you the names of all the variables you have in your data set. You have invoice number, you have stock code, description, quantity, invoice date, unit price, customer ID, country. All right. Later on, as you go into the real deal, you learn about what we call the data types. All right, and then, so it tells us that it's objects. We have a mixture of different data types here. We have strings, we have numeric values, and the rest. We also have date there. Okay, so it's giving us objects. So we're going to learn about that pretty much later. So these are basic things you need to note. Now, also and I'm going to share this data set with you so you can practice. That will be shared, I think, to the group. You need to also understand data cleaning. So basic data cleaning, again, I do not have time to start explaining all kinds of cleaning we can do. But then you want to follow this code, to remove, there's something called returns or invalid prices. So let's say from quantity, we have returns that are not valid. This happens a lot in our data set, and then we need to quickly treat that. Or in the unit price column, in the case where we have invalid prices, in order for us to standardize it, is a way of cleaning the different methods of data cleaning, just to make sure that your data has been standardized and normalized. All right, so I'm just going to explore one. So this is how we write the code script. All right, again, we have a data frame. Inside data frame, we are saying that, okay, so I need you to go into quantity column, or let's use unit price, go into unit price column. All right, we can't have a non-zero value there. Okay, so it simply means that everything there has to be at least greater than 0. All right, this is just the logic behind all of this. Again, you need to first learn the language for you to know the application. So you've not learned it, so this might still be ambiguous. Just follow, follow who know road and do this. So what happens when you do this is it goes into your data and it sorts some of those issues with invalid prices. So this is the standard practice in in real data sets. And when you're dealing with real company data, you'd always have issues like that, and then you need to quickly clean that. All right, so let's quickly create some basic business metrics. Then we're going to let's just do a simple descriptive analysis, and then we'll do a visualization. We're going to pause for today. All right, so I'm going to skip this. I'm going to come to simple descriptive analysis. So assuming we want to, don't forget what our data looks like. So assuming we want to, this is what our data looks like, and we have quantity section, we have unit price, we have things of that nature. So let's say we're interested in average transaction value, right? And that will be from total amount. Okay, so to do this, we're going to say data frame, then we're going to open a square bracket. Again, I feel like I'm talking to novice who just have to follow what I'm saying, because we have all kinds of brackets in Python, and it's important to know their differences. Okay, we have bow bracket, we have square bracket, we have curly bracket, and all of that. Okay, so when I just mentioned square bracket, there's a reason we actually use that. But for now, just follow with your mind. Okay. So I'm going to pass in. So I'm interested in total amount. All right. But importantly, for the total amount, I want to check the mean. I want to understand what's the average transaction value, what it really is, okay, for all of the customers. So I'm going to pass in .main, and I'm going to open parentheses and close the parentheses. So when I run this, it's going to give me this. Now, this is the metric we're interested in, an average of 20 point something. There's a way to reduce it to 2 decimal places. Again, we're not going to delve into all of that because of time. So this simply tells you the average amount customers spent. Now, these are high level information that you as the scientists want to be able to begin to glean from the data. So what is the average amount customers actually spend on all of the products put together? What's the average amount? Okay, again, you might be interested in understanding, okay, so what is the what are the countries where the company or the online retail company experience the highest amount of sales? Okay, so you can work with the top 5. All right, to write this, you need to first of all write your data frame, because everything you're working with has to come from the data frame that you have defined earlier on. Remember that the first thing we did was to define our data frame. And in order for us to be able to do that, we used a library called pandas, which we shortened to a PD. All right, and then we read our data. So our data is captured within that data frame that has been defined. So that's why we keep using, DF to represent our data frame. All right, so basically we say data frame, and then so because in our data we have different groups, we have different columns, and we are dealing with more than one variable at the same time. We're dealing with country and also dealing with total amount. Okay, but because we're interested in averages, not just the raw values that we have there, we're interested in the main values. Okay, so what will happen is going to give us the average sales, all right, by country. All right, so we use this code script to actually achieve this. I don't know how to start, teaching you this from scratch, but basically just note that we would say that df dot, we're going to group by what? Python will ask you by what? What do you mean group by? All right, if you hover around this, it's going to give you different, different options of what you can do. So we're going to open our parentheses and we're going to say, okay, so by country, we're interested in country, we're also interested in total amount. All right, but it's the main of the amount we're interested in. Then I need you to be able to sort the values. All right, how do you want me to sort the values, in descending or ascending order? All right, so because we're interested in descending order, it means ascending is false. All right, so then I'm going to say that, okay, so it's going to be ascending order, but it is when ascending is false. It simply means you are saying descending. It's crazy, right? But that's the logic behind the code. Then dot S simply means I want you to specify just the first 5 value. That's top 5. So because it indexes from 0, so it's the first 5 from 0 to 4. All right, so what this will do is it's going to print the countries with, the highest or the top sales. Okay, we can call it sales by country. So once I run this, it's going to give me that. Excuse me. Now we have execute something around total amount that we skipped here. All right, and that's why that is not running. So how much more time do we have? We have 9 minutes. I wanted us to skip this. And I wanted us to skip this. But as it is, it looks like okay. So I had to go and run those, and that's why it's returned an error. Okay, by the way, you should note that's the logic behind. Guys, are we still together? If you're still with me, please use your favorite emoji. All right, part of problem also. So it returned an error because we did something around total amount and we needed to use it here, but then we didn't execute it earlier. So what this does is, so it gives me the first 5 countries. So immediately we can begin to see that, oh, okay, so Netherlands has the highest, all right, and then average sale. Then we have Switzerland as a number 5. You can check for the top 10 countries by just simply putting 10 here. All right, so it gives me Netherlands, where it increases it. Then we see that we have other countries. We have Sweden, we have Hong Kong, Denmark, we have Lithuania, we have, I'm sure some of you have never known that there's a country called Bahrain, and then we have Lebanon. Okay, you can increase it top 15 if you want. All right, so it's going to run there and give you top 15. Okay, so basically, we have begun to interact with. So basically, the idea is just for you to be able to see what Python looks like, because you're going to be using a lot of it. All right. So when you come again, we'll now learn Python from scratch, and then we can learn how to be able to apply it. So all of these jargons I've written here, why I wrote them, how I wrote them, what's the logic behind writing them, you'll be able to understand, them better. Okay. So then visualization. Again, we have another library we use when it comes to data visualization in Python. Okay, it's called matplotlib. Okay, so mat, as the name implies, mat to plot, and it's a library. Matplotlib, that's it in short. We need to first import it. We need to import matplotlib. But so it's a Python library for plotting graphs, visualization of that. So we say matplotlib.python plot. That's pyplot. All right. So I want to use a single and simple words to replace it. So every time I don't have to write in this long stuff in my code script. That's why we're using PLT, just like we use PD for pandas. All right. So once you write this, you want to run it. Once you run it, you see it has been run. Then all of these jargons are written here. Okay. It's just to produce this, to be able to see total sales by day of the week, because the data, as you must have seen from the data, that we actually have total sales, and then we have days of the week. All right, we have columns. So let me go back to the data itself. So from here you can see that we have invoice dates. Okay, so and this date gives us breakdown for both days, years, and all of that. All right. So the long and short of this is that we're able to write simple lines of code, and then Python is able to help us to execute this. Now, there are more advanced things. You'll notice that at a very basic level, as a data scientist, you must first of all be able to generate some insights about the data. All right, more or less like doing data analysis. And that explains why, even as data analysts, you do not only use Excel, we also use Python for data analysis. We just need to write simple. I can easily alter this if I want to change the color, if I want to generate some nuances, at a go, all right, from this. Okay, again, it's difficult to explain what each bracket meant, why we needed to pass certain things into the argument, because you need to understand the language of Python. But for the sake of this demo, you can just follow these things, write it exactly as it is when you are practicing, and you're surely going to get the same result. So what this simply does is it tells us the days from the entire data set, the days where they experience the most kind of sales. And these are very, very important. It helps them to know, to ask questions like, okay, so why are we experiencing so much sales on Thursdays and on Tuesdays? What was it about those days? Do we do things differently that we're not doing on other days? All right. So what are the things? So it helps you to ask very deep questions, and helps businesses to improve their performance. Trust me, at a very basic level, these are the things data scientists do on a day-to-day basis. All right. So I'm going to just pause there. I'm going to stop sharing. Now, it takes time to gain mastery in this thing, all right? And it appears difficult, but you need to be trained in such a way that it is simplified, and then you're able to gain some level of mastery in this. Okay, so we have our program starting next year in January. I'm just going to use 2 minutes to talk about this just before we go. I don't need to speak much about this. I think for those that are interested, it would be great for you to, I don't know if you've looked up our website. We have people, the various groups that you are in, who would be happy to answer whatever questions you have, concerning registration. We have 2 broad packages. We have the specialized and the professional package, right? They have, different prices based on the needs that you actually have. Do you have any specific questions? So I would assume all of you are going to be registering for the programs. Yes. Yes.
That's a nice assumption. Are you okay to drop the website link in the chat box?
Yes. So are you currently on the WhatsApp group?
I'm an alumni, and I did my data some tools with Amdo. If I don't have the website, or let me say I haven't checked if
so please
the website,
check.
the link to the website was gotten. I'll check.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Does any other person have a question? Question? Please ask questions. Yes, just go ahead, David. Unmute yourself and ask questions. So this is what the website looks like. You can always check.
Okay, good evening.
David, please go ahead. Good evening.
Yes, when you were talking about data frames, you said when you use the dot head, it's without any index, it gives the first 5 lines. How about if you put an index
Yeah.
that is less than 5, maybe like 3? How many lines does it
Then
give you?
it's going to give you exactly what you need. So I think it's something you should explore. Would you want to explore that? To give you exactly what you asked for.
Okay.
All right. So for our data science, like I said, we have 2 packages. So the first one, just go to the website, you'll be able to explore it. These are very cheap programs, and compared to the kind of valuable person you would have become at the end of the program, right? And it's very loaded. That's the bottom line. So please explore it, and it's pointless if you attend this bootcamp and you're unable to follow through with, actually registering for the program. The specialist program is longer, more detailed, more hands-on experience, but you still get value for either of the programs. All right. Well, I advise you go for the specialist program if you want something lengthier and with more support for, career support and all. Okay, we're going to be giving 100,000 cash back to those who will be registering before the end of the year.
Ah, that's
So
interesting.
yeah, so there's an interest form that has been dropped. Please fill the interest form. Everyone on the call, I expect you to fill it. So I'm giving you 1 minute or 2 minutes. Kindly fill the form that was dropped, and so we'll be in touch
Well,
with you. So I'm
you
waiting
didn't
for you.
show us, you didn't show us what tools are we going to be learning if one is
Okay,
coming.
yeah. So actually, you're going to be learning Python. Obviously, you'll be learning Python. You'll be learning SQL because you're going to be dealing with a lot of databases. You're going to be learning that SQL. You're going to be learning some cloud-based services like AWS. I don't know if you're familiar with Amazon Web Services, because um, the world has gone bigger than just simple data. There's something called big data, right? So you need to be familiar with platforms like Hadoop Spark. You're going to be learning about Amazon Web Services. Also, you're going to be building, you're going to be working on a lot of projects. You're going to build a portfolio website. Um, Other things, what are the other things? Mentorship, and again, kindly read more about this on the website, right? It's the curriculum is also there. I think yes, the curriculum is there. You'll be able to learn more about the program. It's very hands-on. So please fill the form. Have you filled the form already? If you fill the form, please let me
No,
know. You say 1 or 2 things, and then we're going to. So I would assume I'm going to see you all in January. I'm going to see you in class. Yes.
okay, if I may ask, is it okay for someone to jump from being a data analyst to data engineering?
So data engineering or data science? Yeah.
No. Data science is just like a step ahead of data analytics.
Yes. So usually it depends on your need. It depends on why you want to go into data engineering. Data engineering for some people can be really boring because you deal with data pipelines, right? It's a lot of back end work. Your work is not usually seen most time, like that of data scientist and data analyst, right? But then it's a very beautiful field, and not many people are actually in the data engineering space, although it's gaining prominence lately. So yeah, it's a very nice field. You can go from data. You're already familiar with data environment. You then need to learn some more technical tools. So as a data engineer, you need to also learn Python. So yes.
Okay, I'm trying to view the course here, but it seems the website doesn't have enough information for that. It's keep bouncing, or probably is
Oh, but
expecting me to register before I can view the course
to be able
catalog.
to the outline right. But regardless, if you fill the form, we'll be able to provide more details to you about
All
it
right.
that this
Thank
call
you
might not
very
be
much.
able to accommodate. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. All right. I'm finished.
Um. Okay. So I think that's it. Um. Okay. So I'm just going to hand over to the hosts so that they'll carry on. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Please
Good
confirm you
evening.
can hear me.
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
we
hear
can.
you. Loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Okwe. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Okay, I don't know why Okwe wants to hand out over to the host. He is the host. Okay, so for the website, right, this is our website. Okay, so the curriculum is not yet here, but then again, before the end of next week, the curriculum is going to be there. Like I said, I'm just gonna come here and show you for those that want to see what the curriculum look like. Okay, so just give me a second. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so this is our data science, like he said. So we have 2 tiers for our data science. We have 5 months program, and that's 4 months and 1 month internship, right? You are going to be learning a lot. Okay, so we have data We have another one, 8 months. That's the specialist tiers. So we have another one for 8 months. All right. So you are going to be learning a lot as well. So we are going to share this with anyone that is interested. You can reach out to us. You are going to get hands-on. You are going to get this. But trust me, is very large, and I mean it's a very robust curriculum. So any of this program that you are interested in, you can get them at very, very affordable price. And trust me, what we are doing now is 40% discount. If you go to our website, right, just click on course. If you click on course, you're going to see our course. Like we said, this is work in progress. You're going to get full details of everything that you need about our program on our website before the end of this week. Okay, so now our specialist program, professional data science, is at 40% discount, is 450,000 naira instead of 750. This is for good 5 months, right? Good 5 months. Trust me, this is as cheap as pure water, right? Am I correct? Hi, Mrs. Fumi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much
Hi.
for engaging. Thank
I
you
hope
very
I'm
much.
loud enough.
Class. Yes, very clear, very loud. Yeah. All right. So let me introduce Mrs. Fumi to us. She's an alumni, very vibrant and intelligent woman. Okay, so we have our specialist course here. So the specialist course here is at the rate of 800,000 naira. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Yes. And this is for 8 months. There is a lot you're going to be enjoying. A lot you're going to be enjoying. So you're learning from the experts, right? So you can make inquiries. Reach out to us if you want to see the curriculum in details, because just use it to can search for other people and find out the difference between what we're doing here at Amdoranalytics. Now, it's very rare for you to even see anybody that want to teach you data science with AWS. They will just tell you, unless you're going for data engineering, all those ones, right? But here at Amdoranalytics, we are trying all our best to ensure that you are getting the best from us. Aside from the technical training, there are other benefits that you're going to be enjoying as a student of Amdoranalytics. So this 40% discount is only available from now till December 31st. Okay, so but then again, our next call will be starting on 10th of January. Trust me, it's not a one-time payment. I know a lot of people will be like, how can I pay 800,000 at once? So it's not a one-time payment. You can pay twice, you can. And if you reach out to me, maybe to me or any of my colleagues on this call, right? Maybe they will just give you a privilege to pay 3 times, right? But trust me, you can pay twice. All right, so let's take questions. If you have any question, if there's no question, we can call it a night. Thank you very much for joining. And again, please try to register for this program because we have a lot for you. And this program is starting on 10th of March, 10th of January. Pardon? 10th of January. So registration is ongoing. And the 40% discount, like we said, is the first 20 people to register. The first 20 people to register for our program. Please, there is a form that my colleagues are dropping. So there is a form going on here. Please kindly fill that. Can you differentiate between data science and data science specialist? Okay. Hi, Yoko, do you want to speak on that? Or should I go? Okay, so.
Sorry, can you say that again? Is that a question in the chat?
Yes.
So I want to understand where the question is coming from. So is it from our specialist program? Is that what you're making reference to?
No, yeah,
Okay.
when I browse through the websites now, I understand the course outlines are yet to be put up, but I noticed that you've got data science specialists. That one is going for 800,000 naira. That's a lot, fine. And the other data science professional is going for 450. I was just trying to juxtapose the course outline for both of them. Unfortunately, they are yet to be uploaded. So I asked a question that, can you just tell us the difference between the two so that we know what is worth enrolling for at the moment?
Okay, so I think Chichi will be able to speak a bit to that. So basically, it's around the other value-added services. That's what differentiates them, right? But Chichi, I'll just hand over to Chichi.
Okay, thank you very much, Okwe. So is like he said, the value added to that 8 months program, right? It's 8 months, so for good 8 months, right? So the value added to it is a lot. The internship, the mentorship, like name implies specialist. So those people, they're not special, but then again, it is what it takes, right? So, and again, a little difference from the curriculum. So that will see this advanced to the professional tiers. Is that okay? So there is a lot you are going to be learning from that, right? A lot, especially in terms of internship. That one, it has 2 months internship. The professional has just 1 month internship. Okay. Did I answer your question, Mrs. Fumi?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to send the curriculum to you, okay? So you can go through that. All right, thank you very much, everybody, for joining, and see you in the class. We want to see everybody. Please make sure that you register. Reach out to us and register. See you in the class. Bye.